Good morning, friends. Today is a very auspicious day because it is going to be the Hillula tonight, the Yahertzeit of a phenomenal rabbi from Baghdad originally. His name was Chacham Abdallah Somech, Rabbi Abdallah Somekh. He was born actually back in the year 1813 in Baghdad, naturally, and he came from a very, very wealthy family, very, very rich family, and very, very family with full of lineage. Actually, he was a descendant of the great Rabbi Nissim Gaon, and his father, Rabbi Abraham Somekh, was also a great rabbi in Baghdad. So he grew up, he was from a rich family, and he worked as a merchant while obviously he was learning virtually the whole day. And at the age of 20, very, very young age, Rabbi Abdallah, Chacham Abdallah, he saw the need to open up some sort of yeshiva in Iraq, because at the time there was not much Torah scholarship. It was beginning to wane over there. So he said there's a need at this stage in time to open a Torah center so people can start learning. So opened it at such a young age, at 20, and he started up the concept of a free, let's just say a free yeshiva, to entice people to come, to get a lot of the people from Baghdad to come, a lot of students. And he did it. He was very, very successful. At this young age, he was a huge Talmid Chacham, very, very big Talmid Chacham, Rabbi Abdallah was, and opened up the yeshiva. And it was open for eight years already, and they changed the name at that stage to Yeshivat Bet Zilkah. And at one stage, in the first dozen years, there was more than 60 Rabbonim being nurtured inside there, what would take on Baghdad to a new level in a new period of time. It ended up being, from this yeshiva itself, some great Sephardi Rabbonim came from it. The Kaf HaChaim, who very great rabbi, and also the Ben Ish Chai. Rabbi Yosef Chaim, Chacham Yosef Chaim, actually also came from the yeshiva. Actually, Rabbi Abdallah Somekh was the rabbi of the Ben Ish Chai and the Kaf HaChaim, two of the greatest rabbonim, arguably, in the last 300 years across the world, without doubt. Chacham Abdallah Somekh was a very, very big expert, especially in the dinim, the laws of shechita, slaughtering, and he wrote a big book on Shulchan Aruch, on the code of Jewish law, which was called the Zibhei Tzedek, which was a absolute masterpiece, which he wrote during his years. Inside this yeshiva, he ended up opening more than 20 schools, 20 institutions, and thousands of students came from it. And he took Baghdad to another level of Torah, pretty much close to the level it was during the time of the Talmud itself. And what's interesting is, we talk about it nowadays, there's a lot of yeshiva, there's been a Kiruv movement, but in my opinion, he was a forefather of the entire Kiruv movement across the world. It happened in the year 1840, in the year 1833, where he starts up this free yeshiva, and that's where it all came from, and I think that's where the energy came all these years later, where the Kiruv movement thrived after the 6-Day War. So he did many things. He was a big component also of the Torah im Derech Eretz attitude, which was taking place in some aspects of Europe also. He was very much into people also working in a profession, while they should be totally literate in the whole of the Torah, if possible. And he was a great rabbi of full esteem, as I've stated before. And all these institutions he opened up, all these different Talmidim he had, was at a phenomenal level, especially the Ben Ish Chai and the Kaf HaChaim and many, many others. In fact, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, who became the great Sephardi rabbi in Israel at a later stage, who passed away 9 years back, his name is Ovadia, and that is a Hebrew equivalent of the name Abdallah. Abdallah is obviously, naturally, we all know, known as an Arabic name, but that was his name, Rabbi Chacham Abdallah Somekh. And tonight is his Hillula, his Yahertzeit, and it's an auspicious time. One story I want to say about Chacham Abdallah is a very famous one, actually, that's actually happened back in, at the time of his passing, when he passed away. He passed away in the year 1889 in Baghdad, and they wanted to bury him in the tomb of the grave of the tzaddik of the first Kohen Gadol. That was at the time of the second Bet HaMikdash, Yochanan Kohen Gadol. So they buried him inside this plot. And then a lot of politics, especially anti-Semitic politics, occurred in Baghdad at the time, where the people living there said, no, this is not on. Why should he be buried there? You know, they had a lot of issues with that. And it went towards, even in the French Parliament and the British Parliament, this issue did. And he was buried at the start of September 1889. So within 3 months after they made many arrests on anti-Semitic charges, the governor ordered that they dig up Chacham Abdallah Somech's body from the grave which was obviously an atrocious thing to do, but they did it 3 months after he's buried. And remember, in Iraq, in Baghdad, the temperatures there are sweltering. We're talking about it's over there 40, 45 degrees, a desert weather. So 3 months you would expect that the body would be totally decomposed. However, a miracle happened, an open miracle happened, where they dug up the body and it was totally whole as it was just buried hours before. And many Muslims converted to Judaism when they found out this had occurred. You know, it was such a Kiddush Hashem. And many people realized they made a mistake with what they had done. But it was a grandiose funeral where there was hundreds of thousands of people came, because he had such high esteem among everyone in Baghdad. And with dealing with one of the greatest Rabbanim, remember, this Rabbi Chacham Abdallah Somech, his students Ben Ishchai, Kafachai, many of them ended up encouraging the yeshiva Porat Yosef to be built in Jerusalem, which is now a thriving yeshiva even nowadays, with so many, with hundreds of Talmudim coming. The greatest Talmidei Chachamim from Israel have come in the last century from over there. And it's all partly thanks to Chacham Abdallah Somech, all this great stuff. So it's a time where everyone in world Jewry can be jealous of the Chachamim from Baghdad. I am, being a Persian Jew originally, what great Chachamim came from the city of Baghdad over the last 200 years. And it was interesting, a few days back it was a Hillula, the Yahertzeit of the Ben Ishchai. And only a few days later, now today, is actually the Yahertzeit of the Chacham Abdallah Somech. So maybe we all tonight light candles in his schot, in his memory, make his neshama, all the schot he did. We were so lucky to have him at in this generation, in those generations before. And his schot is hopefully protecting us. In fact, also, he was a master Kabbalist also, and they say that he was a Gilgul, a reincarnation of one of the Jewish kings from back in the Sefer Malachim. That's how great he was. His name being Chacham Abdallah Somech. Abdallah being the equivalent of Ovadia in Hebrew. And also the name Somech actually is a support. That's what it's meant. And because many of his family actually supported the Torah scholars in Iraq all those years ago. So tonight, guys, do some tefillot in his memory, this great rabbi from Baghdad. I want to wish you all a fantastic day. And hopefully Bezrat Hashem, when I'll do another story on the next righteous person, next tzaddik from the last few hundred years. Have a great day, guys. Bye.